Fear is a natural part of the human experience, something every single person encounters at one point or another. The difference between those who rise above and those who remain stuck is not the absence of fear, but how they respond to it. Facing fear but not giving it power is about recognizing that fear exists without allowing it to dictate your choices or control your path. Too often, people wait for fear to disappear before they take action, believing that courage means being fearless. But courage is not about the absence of fear, it's about the decision to move forward in spite of it. When you understand this, fear loses the grip it has over you, because you begin to see it for what it really is, a signal, not a stop sign. Fear shows up in many forms. It might be fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown. Most people allow those fears to trap them in place, keeping them from taking the steps that could change their lives. But the bulletproof mindset treats fear differently. Instead of viewing it as an obstacle, it sees fear as an opportunity. It acknowledges the discomfort, it feels the weight of doubt, but it refuses to bow to it. This doesn't mean you deny that you are afraid. It means you refuse to surrender control of your decisions to that fear. You feel it, you name it, and then you act anyway. When you stop giving power to fear, you begin to uncover your real strength. Think about the times in your life when you were nervous, when you hesitated, when you almost talked yourself out of doing something, and then you did it anyway. What happened afterward? The moment you pushed through, you realized fear wasn't the wall you thought it was. It was a shadow, larger in your imagination than in reality. Fear thrives in hesitation and inaction. The longer you sit with it, the more power you give it. But when you confront it, when you step forward, it shrinks. That is the foundation of building a bulletproof mind, taking back the power that fear tries to steal. People often say, "I can't do this because I'm afraid." That statement itself reveals the problem. You are not afraid because you can't do something. You think you can't because you are afraid. The fear came first, and then you allowed it to write the story. But fear is not the author of your life. You are. When you face it head on, when you stop giving it authority, you reclaim the pen. You start writing chapters of growth, resilience, and action, rather than chapters of hesitation and regret. Every great achievement, every moment of transformation, began with someone who was afraid but didn't let that fear decide their future. They may have felt their heart racing, their hands trembling, their voice shaking, but they stepped forward anyway. And the moment they did, they proved something vital. Fear doesn't have the final word unless you hand it the microphone. Facing fear is not about waiting until you feel strong enough. It's about stepping forward even when you don't. That act itself creates strength. The truth is, fear never goes away entirely. It will always show up when you're pushing beyond your comfort zone, when you're daring to grow, when you're stepping into new territory. But that's not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you're exactly where you need to be. Fear signals growth, and growth is where power is built. The bulletproof mindset understands that fear is not the enemy, it's the training ground. Each time you face it without giving it control, you become tougher, sharper, and more unshakable. Discipline over excuses is the foundation of a bulletproof mindset, because excuses are the greatest thief of potential. Every time you make an excuse, you hand over a piece of your power, you delay progress, and you weaken your own resolve. Excuses are easy to make. They roll off the tongue without effort. You can justify why you didn't wake up early, why you skipped the workout, why you didn't chase the opportunity, why you avoided the difficult conversation. And in that moment, the excuse feels comforting, like a shield protecting you from discomfort or failure. But the truth is, excuses don't protect you at all. They trap you. They keep you stagnant while discipline moves you forward. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not about motivation or feeling inspired in the moment. Motivation comes and goes like the weather, but discipline is the decision to act regardless of how you feel. It is waking up when your body says sleep a little longer, pushing through when your mind whispers take it easy, staying focused when distractions call for your attention. Discipline demands sacrifice, but it pays dividends in strength, consistency, and results. Excuses give you temporary comfort, but they leave you with long-term regret. Discipline gives you temporary struggle, but it leaves you with long-term growth. When you choose discipline over excuses, you separate yourself from the majority. Most people live in the world of someday. Someday they will start the business. Someday they will get fit. Someday they will fix the relationship. Someday they will become who they always wanted to be. Someday never comes for those who lean on excuses, because tomorrow always seems like a better time to start. Discipline doesn't wait for the right time. It acts now. It doesn't ask for the conditions to be perfect. It creates progress in imperfect conditions. That is why discipline builds mental armor, because it teaches you to show up no matter what. Excuses often sound reasonable, and that's what makes them dangerous. You convince yourself that you are too tired, too busy, too unprepared, or that the timing isn't right. Those stories feel true, but they are not the truth. They are narratives you've chosen because they are easier than doing the hard work. Discipline is the antidote to those narratives. It says, yes, you are tired, but you will do it anyway. Yes, you are busy, but you will make time for what matters. Yes, the timing is uncomfortable, but you will start because progress doesn't wait. Every time you silence an excuse and act with discipline, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your circumstances. The Bulletproof mindset understands that discipline is not about perfection. It is about consistency. You will have moments where you fall short, but discipline is getting back on track immediately instead of sinking into the comfort of more excuses. Excuses multiply when you let them, but discipline compounds too. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. It builds resilience, confidence, and trust in yourself. You stop second guessing your ability because you have a record of showing up even when it was hard. That trust in yourself is priceless because it becomes unshakable proof that you can endure, persist, and succeed. There will always be two voices competing inside you, the voice of excuses and the voice of discipline. One will tell you to wait, to stop, to slow down, to avoid discomfort. The other will tell you to keep going, to do the work, to push past resistance. The question is, which one do you feed? A bulletproof mindset always chooses discipline, because discipline builds habits, and habits build the life you want. Excuses might make you feel good in the moment, but discipline makes you unshakable in the long run. Don't give your power away to others is one of the most important principles of building a bulletproof mindset, because the moment you let someone else's opinion, judgment, or action dictate how you feel or what you do, you've handed them control of your life. Power isn't just about authority or position. It's about ownership of your own thoughts, emotions, and decisions. Every time you let someone's criticism stop you from moving forward, you've given them a piece of your power. Every time you let praise inflate you so much that you start depending on it to feel worthy, you've given away your power. True strength comes when you learn to stand firm in who you are, without being swayed by the noise around you. People will always have opinions. Some will underestimate you, some will doubt you, some will even root for your failure, and others may place expectations on you that don't align with your goals. If you live for their approval, you'll die by their rejection. A bulletproof mindset refuses to hand over emotional control to anyone else. It recognizes that the opinions of others are exactly that, opinions, not facts. The truth about who you are and what you're capable of doesn't live in their words. It lives in your actions and in your own belief system. It's easy to get caught in the trap of comparison, constantly measuring yourself against what others are doing, how they are living, and what they think of you. But comparison is a thief, and it will always leave you feeling less than. The bulletproof mindset doesn't play that game. It focuses on self-mastery, on becoming better than you were yesterday, on owning your journey instead of trying to live someone else's. When you stop giving your power away, you stop needing validation to move forward, and you stop allowing negativity to hold you back. You begin to operate from a place of strength rather than a place of reaction. Taking back your power also means setting boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to your energy, your time, or your attention. When you say yes to everything and everyone, you drain yourself and weaken your ability to stay focused on what truly matters. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They are filters to keep your priorities intact. The bulletproof mindset sets boundaries with confidence, without guilt, because it understands that protecting your energy is part of protecting your power. Another way people lose power is by internalizing failure and criticism. When someone points out your flaws or when life knocks you down, it's tempting to take it personally and allow it to define you. But failure is information, not identity. Criticism is perspective, not absolute truth. The bulletproof mindset listens, learns what is useful, and discards what is not. It never gives someone else the authority to label it as a success or a failure, worthy or unworthy. That authority belongs only to you. Reclaiming your power also means being accountable. When you blame others for your situation, your boss, your parents, your past, your circumstances, you're giving them power over your future. Accountability is freedom because it says, regardless of what has happened, I control what happens next. That shift changes everything. It turns you from a victim into a creator, from someone waiting for change to someone driving it. Excuses dissolve when you understand that no one else is responsible for your choices but you. At the heart of this principle is self-respect. When you respect yourself, you stop begging others to respect you. When you know your worth, you don't hand the measuring stick to someone else. When you stand in your values, you can weather the storms of judgment and still remain grounded. That is the essence of not giving your power away, recognizing that your strength, your worth, and your direction come from within, and nothing external can shake that unless you allow it. Pressure shapes you, not breaks you, because the very moments that feel the heaviest are the ones that forge your true strength. Most people run from pressure because it's uncomfortable, because it demands more than they think they can give, because it exposes their weaknesses. But pressure isn't there to destroy you. It's there to reveal what you're made of. Think about how a diamond is created. It doesn't form in comfort. It forms under immense heat and pressure, and without that force, it would remain nothing more than carbon. In the same way, the challenges you face, the setbacks you endure, the weight you carry, are all part of shaping you into something stronger, sharper, and more resilient than you were before. When pressure shows up in your life, it is often disguised as struggle, difficulty, or pain. It's the long nights when you feel like giving up, the failures that make you question yourself, the criticism that makes you doubt your path. But the bulletproof mindset sees pressure not as a curse, but as a gift. It understands that the very discomfort you feel is the sign of growth. Muscles only grow when they are put under stress. Skills only sharpen when tested. Character only deepens when it's challenged. Without pressure, there is no transformation. Many people crumble under pressure because they see it as a signal that they are not good enough or that they should stop. But that perspective is what weakens them, not the pressure itself. The truth is, pressure is neutral. It's how you interpret it that determines the outcome. One person sees a setback as proof that they can't succeed. Another sees the same setback as an opportunity to learn and adapt. The event is the same, but the response is different, and that response is what shapes who they become. The bulletproof mindset reframes pressure as preparation, as training for the bigger battles ahead. Pressure also has the ability to expose your priorities. When life presses hard against you, the unnecessary falls away, and what really matters comes into focus. It forces you to strip down to your core values, to ask yourself what you're truly willing to fight for, and to let go of the distractions that drain your energy. In this way, pressure purifies. It burns away the excuses, the half-hearted efforts, and leaves only the essentials. That process might feel harsh, but it is also clarifying. It creates a level of focus that comfort never could. Another thing pressure does is build resilience. Each time you face it and endure, you expand your capacity. The next challenge feels a little less overwhelming because you've already carried weight before. Resilience is not built by avoiding difficulty. It's built by confronting it, struggling through it, and coming out the other side with proof that you survived. That proof becomes part of you, a reminder that you are tougher than you thought, and it gives you confidence to face whatever comes next. It's important to remember that pressure doesn't always show up in grand, dramatic ways. Sometimes it's in the small, daily struggles, the deadlines, the responsibilities, the constant pull between what you want and what you have to do. These small pressures, if embraced, shape your discipline and sharpen your mental edge. Every time you keep going despite the weight, you are training your mind to handle more. You are teaching yourself that you won't break easily, that no matter how heavy the load, you can carry it forward step by step. Pressure isn't about crushing you. It's about conditioning you. It pushes you beyond your limits, forcing you to grow into someone who can handle more than you thought possible. It doesn't break you unless you allow it to. It's not the pressure that decides the outcome. It's your mindset. If you see it as destruction, it will defeat you. If you see it as shaping, it will build you. True toughness is quiet confidence because real strength doesn't need to announce itself or demand recognition. It isn't about loud words, flashy displays, or forcing others to notice. It is steady, grounded, and unshakable, built from within rather than borrowed from external validation. When you meet someone who has genuine toughness, you feel it without them ever needing to say a word. Their presence carries a calm assurance. Their actions speak louder than anything they could claim, and their consistency proves who they are far more than any declaration ever could. Quiet confidence is the armor of a bulletproof mindset because it cannot be taken away by criticism or inflated by praise. It remains steady regardless of what the world throws at it. Many people mistake arrogance for toughness. Arrogance is loud, demanding, and rooted in insecurity. It relies on being seen, being admired, being acknowledged by others in order to feel powerful. But that kind of toughness is fragile because the moment the applause stops or the attention fades, so does the confidence. True toughness doesn't crack under silence, doesn't wither without compliments, and doesn't fall apart under criticism. It is independent of external voices. Quiet confidence comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for, regardless of whether anyone else approves. Quiet confidence is built through experience. It comes from testing yourself, failing, and rising again. Every challenge overcome becomes a silent reminder that you can endure. Every time you keep going when it would have been easier to quit, you reinforce the foundation of your strength. You don't need to shout about it because you've lived it, you've earned it, and it shows. People with true toughness don't waste energy proving themselves. They spend their energy becoming stronger. That is why their confidence radiates without words. There is also power in restraint. Quiet confidence knows when to act and when to stay still. It doesn't react to every insult, doesn't rush to defend against every criticism, doesn't explode at every provocation. It chooses battles wisely because it understands that energy is valuable and not everything deserves a response. Weakness often hides behind loudness, the need to prove and over-explain, while strength sits calmly, unbothered by noise. The bulletproof mindset embraces this restraint because it is not about winning every argument. It is about mastering yourself. Quiet confidence also creates influence. People trust those who are steady under pressure, who don't panic when situations get tough, who can remain calm in the middle of chaos. That steadiness becomes a source of strength for others. Leaders with quiet confidence don't need to demand respect. They earn it by the way they carry themselves, by the consistency of their actions, and by their ability to stay grounded when everyone else is shaken. Their toughness doesn't shout. It guides, reassures, and inspires. Another reason true toughness is quiet confidence is because it's rooted in self-awareness. When you know your strengths and weaknesses, when you've accepted your scars and failures, you don't need to hide behind noise. You've faced yourself fully, and because of that, nothing outside can destabilize you. You've already looked fear, doubt, and pain in the eye and kept moving forward. That internal victory is far louder than any external performance, and it creates a confidence that doesn't waver when circumstances change. In the end, quiet confidence is about alignment between who you are, what you value, and how you live. It doesn't require masks, it doesn't require approval, and it doesn't require noise. It's the kind of toughness that endures because it isn't built on fragile foundations. It is steady, consistent, and deeply rooted, and it carries you through the hardest battles without ever needing to announce itself. Scars are proof of survival, not weakness, because every mark you carry tells a story about what you've endured and what you've overcome. Too often, people look at scars, physical or emotional, and see them as flaws, as something to hide, as evidence that they were broken. But a bulletproof mindset reframes scars as symbols of resilience, reminders that you faced something that could have defeated you, and yet you are still here. They are not signs of fragility, they are signs of strength. They say, I've been through the fire and I came out stronger. Every scar, visible or invisible, is a record of a battle fought. Some scars come from failure, some from heartbreak, some from loss, and others from setbacks you never saw coming. In the moment, those experiences might have felt unbearable, like they would destroy you completely. But the fact that you carry the scar means you survived it. It didn't erase you, it didn't end you. It shaped you. That is the power of scars. They are living proof that pain can be endured and turned into growth. The world often teaches us to hide our scars, to cover them up, to present ourselves as perfect and untouched. But perfection is an illusion, and chasing it only makes you weaker. Real strength comes from embracing your scars, owning your story, and understanding that those marks don't diminish you. They define the depth of your character. Someone who has never been tested, never been hurt, never been scarred, may look unbroken, but they also lack the toughness that comes from walking through hardship and surviving it. Scars also build connection. When you share your struggles, when you show that you've been hurt and yet you kept moving, others see themselves in you. They realize they're not alone in their battles, and that creates strength for both of you. Pretending to be flawless creates distance, but owning your scars builds trust. It says, I've been there. I've felt pain too, and I made it through. That honesty inspires others to believe they can do the same. The bulletproof mindset doesn't see scars as the end of the story, but as evidence that the story continued. Every time life knocked you down and you stood back up, you added another layer to your resilience. That resilience can't be faked, it's earned, and it's visible in the scars you carry. Instead of asking, Why did this happen to me? A bulletproof mindset asks, what did this teach me? What strength did I gain? How am I tougher now than I was before? Scars don't erase your past. They remind you that you have a future because you made it through. Scars also strip away fear. Once you've been hurt, once you've failed, once you've survived something you thought might break you, you realize you're tougher than you imagined. The fear of falling again loses power because you already know you can rise. That knowledge is priceless. It makes you bolder, more willing to take risks, more confident in your ability to adapt. Instead of avoiding pain, you understand that pain is survivable, and that survival leaves you stronger. The beauty of scars is that they turn what was once a wound into wisdom. They transform suffering into strength, loss into lessons, pain into perspective. They remind you that even at your lowest, you had the grit to keep going, and that is not weakness. It is the purest form of strength. When you carry your scars with pride instead of shame, you embody the bulletproof mindset, because you're no longer defined by what tried to hurt you. You're defined by the fact that you endured, you healed, and you are still standing. A bulletproof mindset is not something you are born with, it is something you forge through choice, discipline, and perseverance. It is about facing fear without giving it power, choosing discipline over excuses, refusing to let others control your direction, and seeing pressure as a force that shapes you rather than breaks you. It is built on quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't shout but stands unshaken, and it is strengthened by the scars that remind you of every storm you have survived. Together, these principles form armor, not armor that shields you from life's difficulties, but armor that equips you to walk through them and come out stronger on the other side. The truth is, life will test you, it will challenge you, and it will push you to your limits. But if you build a bulletproof mindset, no setback can destroy you, no criticism can derail you, and no fear can hold you hostage. You become unshakable because your strength doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. And once you realize that, you stop waiting for circumstances to change, and you start stepping into every challenge with the certainty that nothing can stop you from becoming who you are meant to be.